So when you had your surgery, how did you go about getting active again and finding that confidence to get outdoors?
I remember being excited, although obviously it was emergency, everything. I was actually excited thinking, this might change my life. I might be able to paddleboard.
Wow.
I might be able to go for a walk. We never
such a good
thought
aim.
about climbing a
That's a
mountain
great goal,
before,
yeah.
but I was like, I'm going to climb a mountain.
You've flown a few times,
Yeah.
and that's another experience that people get very nervous about.
I do put everything in place as a precaution.
Yeah.
So my supplies are packed across everything.
Yeah.
So if I go away with the family,
Yeah.
my supplies are in their bags, my bags,
Yeah.
hand luggage. I actually feel having a stoma has given me more confidence than what I've ever had in my life, because I've just gotten to that point where I'm like, this little thing like literally saved my life.
Yeah.
You need to be grateful for that.
Right, welcome back to Beyond the Pouch podcast, season 3, episode 3. And this week, we've got an incredible guest coming.
I'm so excited for this one.
It's going to be spectacular. Who we got?
So she is known for her walk and talks. She is known for her cooking, and she is known for being very outdoorsy. And she is a good friend of mine, and her name is Sophie. And her bestie is called Mona, the Stoma. And we are going to cover so much in this episode, aren't we?
Yeah, and she's gone on such an incredible journey. Like,
Yeah.
you've seen her grow in terms of her body confidence, like the way she is with everybody. And she's such a kind, wonderful human being. I cannot wait to get her on.
Yes, it is going to be a good one, guys.
Right, let's get into it.
Woo! Okay, now the next person we have on this episode is, if you should know her, if you're on social media, she is everywhere. She's a friend of mine. She's incredible. It's Sophie. Welcome,
Hey,
Sophie!
Sophie!
Thank you for having me.
How long have I been saying you need to be
I
on
know.
this?
You have.
You've been saying
Too
it to
long.
me a lot
Yeah.
as
A
well.
long,
Great.
long time.
I actually didn't think it was ever going to happen.
But you're born for stuff like this.
Yeah.
You're huge on social media in terms of the reach you get. People gain so much from your content. It is incredible. So thank you so much for being here.
Bless you. Thank you.
We're going to start off with some quick fire questions.
Right, just
Go for
quickly.
Go for it.
Biggest myth about stomas you want to bust?
That we all stink.
Oh, great shout.
That drives me
Great
insane.
shout. It does drive me insane as
yeah.
well. Most empowering moment since having a stoma?
I would say most empowering, climbing a mountain,
Oh,
because I could never have done that pre-stoma. So
Amazing.
definitely,
Okay.
yeah.
And then one way to describe your relationship with your body at the moment?
You know the status online? It's complicated. Yeah, let's go with that one.
Fair.
Totally
Yeah.
fair. And then last but not least, because we're talking about food and other bits and
Yeah.
pieces, what's one food that you can eat with a stoma which you've been told maybe you shouldn't?
Mushrooms.
No, don't tell me
love
that.
them.
We're not allowed it.
Yeah,
Don't
mushrooms.
say you're thinking about it.
Mushrooms
Oh,
in
God.
everything.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay. So, I mean, there's so much we could talk to you about. So, can you let everyone know, first of all, your background, what you do? Because I know when I first found you, you were Sophie the paramedic.
I remember seeing those
ECSW.
stories.
But, I mean, how you had your stoma kind of similar. Actually, we all had them at a similar time, actually, I
COVID.
think. Yeah, COVID.
Did you have yours in
As
the
all
same
COVID
hospital
babies.
as well?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're under the same surgical team, everything.
Really?
Yeah.
That is a small world.
Yes.
Big up Dr. Campbell Smith. Let's
Yeah,
go.
well, yeah. He was my second opinion.
Oh, right. Okay.
But yeah, can you give us a quick summary of how you came to have a stoma and go for it.
So I had 13 years of misdiagnosis before getting my stoma. So it was always IBS. For 13 years. 7 years into that, I was diagnosed with serrated polyposis syndrome, which is an
What's
aggressive polyp. So it started off, they went in with colonoscopy. There was like one polyp. Year later,
Yeah.
tens of polyps. Year after that, hundreds of polyps. Till
Oh my
eventually
gosh.
my colon was a blanket of polyps, like thousands of polyps. So fast forward, obviously I was diagnosed with ulcerative colitis, and that's
Okay.
why I've got a stoma. However, even if I wasn't diagnosed with that, I would have lost my bowel to serrated polyposis syndrome anyway.
Oh, my gosh. I didn't even know that was a thing.
heard of that.
No.
So long and short of it, it's obviously I'm diagnosed IBD, so it's
Yeah.
ulcerative colitis, serrated polyposis syndrome, and Mona was born peak of COVID 2020.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
she's a 2020 baby.
Wow. It's very similar to me with my stoma. Yours is 2020 as well, isn't it?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I remember I'd
Yeah.
had my surgery and you were the first the first person I reached out to and had the confidence to say, hey, I just seen you had your surgery, so have I. And I think straight away, I think I sent you a photo of my stoma.
You probably did, Rachel. You probably did. The amount of photos you've sent me over the years, you probably did send me.
That's for a different podcast. That's for a different podcast.
That's for another pod.
But I literally, I remember I sent you one, because I had to have mine refashioned because it was a mess.
Yeah.
And I think you're just one of them people that you want to help everyone.
Yeah, I do.
Your content is educational, it's inspirational, it's very real.
Yeah.
It's very raw.
Genuine.
And I think that's why you have such a big following, because people love that. And you know, you make yourself so vulnerable and you put yourself out there so much. And I know a lot of people gain a lot from that.
Yeah, I think it's just in my nature. Obviously, you know, I've worked clinical for like 18 years for the NHS, and it's just in my nature to I just want to support and help everyone.
Yeah.
Obviously, you can't help everyone, and I can't solve everyone's problems, but to get those messages every day, I'm just like, I'm trying. I'm doing my part. I'm trying.
I've seen your stories, and even all the stuff you've done, like even like work-wise, like we've seen all those bits, like, you know, being a paramedic, stuff you're doing at the moment, all the content you put out, like it just comes from such a good place, and it comes across that way.
I do try.
Well, that's why we're so excited to have you on, because that's what we're doing, right?
I mean, we could talk about so many different topics with you, but if we'd be here for 24 hours. So we had to whittle it down. We'll just have to whittle it down. But you love to get outdoors.
Oh, I do. Yeah.
You're very active.
Yeah.
And I think that's one thing that when you've had stoma surgery, a lot of people are very nervous about.
Yeah.
So when you had your surgery, and you've had multiple surgeries, it's not like you've just had one, how did you go about getting active again and finding that confidence to get outdoors?
Do you know what's funny? Because I'm sure I should have been born outdoors.
Okay.
Like I should live in nature. I love being outdoors. However, before my stoma, I was so confined to being at home that I remember being excited. Although obviously it was emergency, everything, I was actually excited, thinking this might change my life. I might be able to paddleboard.
Wow.
I might be able to go for a walk. We live on the Ashdown Forest, and I'm like, I might actually be able to walk up the Ashdown Forest with my kids, because I could never have done that before without pooing myself.
Yeah. Or having to run to another toilet that's like close
and this
by.
is it. And so, I just love being outdoors. So I was actually excited about getting into fitness, being outdoors, enjoying all these sort of things that I know so many people are just so anxious around, aren't they? And it's just doing it in a safe way. I think when you initially get your stoma, it's just making sure you do it safely, isn't it? And
100%.
Definitely.
Walk before you can run, literally.
Exactly.
So yeah. Speaking of like walking, I appreciate like you've got a couple of photos you searched later and things. What some hikes, some like where's the best places you've been like outdoors? Not just really travelling, but like you've done like amazing walks, things like that.
So funnily enough, my favourite walk is literally where I live.
Let's talk about your walk and talks.
Yeah, they went very quiet, didn't they, for a while? Because obviously I lost my best friend, I lost my mojo on Instagram.
Yeah.
But my morning walk and talks every time I'm out there. I'm like, hey, have you...
These sunsets and these sunrises.
Yeah, and it's literally a walk just up the road from my house that I do every single day with the dog. So that is like my happy place.
Yeah.
And actually I don't walk with people because I'm like, hang on, you're going to interfere with my vibe on this walk. So, but other amazing places, Snowdon, that was incredible.
Wow.
And that for me was because that was huge. As soon as I had my stoma, I was like, I'm climbing a mountain. Never thought about climbing a mountain before, but I was like, I'm going to climb a mountain. And so I dragged the kids up Snowdon with me.
Physically, like, we're getting up the mountain.
Yeah, Snowdon, done Old Man of Coniston up in the lakes. I've got a whole list ready for the lakes of, I want to do quite a lot of fells in one day.
Yeah.
So I love it.
So when you go on these walks, how do you pack and prepare? So do you take supplies with you? What do you do?
So I think it's called a bladder bag.
Yeah.
Do you know? So I wear a bladder bag. I've got quite a big one. I will overload that with electrolytes. So that's on my back with the little tube, and so I can just drink throughout the whole.
She's a pro.
So I'm so hot on being hydrated. Like the second I'm not hydrated, I'm just a craggy, horrible person.
Do you feel it a lot though, like when you're dehydrated?
Yes. Yeah, and I feel dehydrated.
Did you just say that as well?
Yeah, I'm always dehydrated.
Because you don't drink, right?
You're a craggy person.
Yeah, that's what I am. So, because I'm sat here, your skin is glowing, and you do look very hydrated. So that does
I
make
drink
sense.
loads.
I think
drink
you can
loads.
tell, unless you've got a ton of makeup on, when someone is hydrated, when someone's skin is like.
Yeah, no.
How's it
And electrolytes every day.
Yeah.
I swear by them. I add electrolytes to everything.
Because I mean, there's lots of people that put electrolytes out there, like recommend it. And I don't know about you, because it's January, my feeds are full of adverts for electrolytes and these patches for losing weight, the injections and all this. And I'm like, how does anyone know where to start with electrolytes? Where would you start?
So I started with, what's the good old NHS one?
St. Mark's Solution?
Yes, thank you.
Diorite.
Oh, so St. Mark's Solution, I should say, that's when you make it up yourself.
Yeah.
I did do that.
Yeah.
I think I overloaded on the salt.
Okay.
I was like, awful. But no, I don't even know how it started, but I just came across the brand, tried them.
Yeah.
That's quite nice. Let's try another brand.
Yeah.
They're gross. And I've just done that. I've ping-ponged my way through different brands and just finally found ones that actually I'm like, I really like these. And, I'm not too fussed if, because some people could be like, oh, but the sugar content or this or that. And I'm like, look, we need electrolytes. Our bodies don't absorb liquid like someone who's got their entire colon. So we need electrolytes. So I've just gone through lots of brands. I still at the moment use 3 different brands.
Okay.
But so going back to hiking, I will have my bladder bag.
Yeah.
So I've got that the whole time. Muffins, chocolate chip muffins.
Muffins?
Because they're a good fuel.
Okay, I'm starting to like this hike.
Muffins and bananas. So what I will do is I will tend to stick to foods on a hike that I know will normally cause me quite thick output.
Yeah,
because the last I really want is just bags of water.
Yeah.
Because I unfortunately do have very, very liquid output.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I do, I've always got a Lucozade as well. I don't know why.
Just more
don't need
electrolytes.
it, but
Yeah. Do you take a bag change or anything like that? No.
So I've always been known for never carrying spare supplies.
Really? That's
ever.
the one thing I do on a hike, is just in case I
have
get
you ever
other
had
issues.
to-
Hiking, I do. I do. And
Okay.
I've actually started now because I'm like, you're going to get caught out one day. So I do take. I don't take loads. Just literally what I need for one bag change.
Yes. I mean, what a place to have to do it if you did. At least there's a view.
It's nature.
It's nature.
At least there's a view.
I mean, the goat.
That's what the dog walkers are saying when they're looking at what's happening over
Be
there.
a view for them too, but a very different
I'm like,
view.
you're complaining that the goat's doing it. No,
Yeah,
you don't
exactly.
complain at me.
I remember when Jake, because I think he was 3, and I needed to empty my bag because we were on a walk, and there was nowhere to do it. There was nowhere, and I had a waste bag, and I just had to squat down behind a tree or whatever to try and make myself really small so no one noticed. And I thought, oh, this is fine. If people walk by, they're not going to see me. But he ran up to me and went to these people, "It's all right. My mummy's just emptying a Stoma bag. It's fine." It was.
And they were probably like,
And then the people are going, what? What? And it's like, have you ever had to empty your bag in any weird and wonderful places?
I actually haven't, but it's always planned. So,
Okay.
when we did the Old Man of Coniston up in Lake District, thank God I didn't need to empty, because I'm not even lying when I say the winds at the top were like 70, 80 mile an hour. Can you imagine? Can you imagine trying to empty your bag?
And if it was liquid?
And if it was liquid, it would have just literally been slapping Ryan's face.
It would have sprayed. Could you imagine?
So I haven't, but I wouldn't be concerned if I had to deal with it. Because we don't do really popular hikes. So we don't go on these ones, where there's going to be tons of people doing the same walk at the same time. We tend to go off different places. And I don't, we've been on hikes where we haven't seen anyone for hours.
Yeah.
So it doesn't bother me if I've got to deal with it.
Yeah.
to be honest, like people have been doing nature wheeze and stuff like that anyway.
Yeah.
Don't
Do
In
Have
the
you
car,
had to?
Pringles tube.
No, I have not done Pringles tube in the car.
I've never done that.
I have emptied my bag out on a hike once, but only once. But even then, it's like most things, you're hydrating, all those other bits.
I have. This is a bit of a gross confession, but hey, here we are. I've had to pee in a nappy whilst driving. It was that or wee myself in the car
I
seat.
I remember this conversation.
I probably voice noted you.
At the same time.
But I was desperate for a wee, and I was on the motorway, and I couldn't get off, and it was gridlock traffic, and I was like, I always keep spare nappies, and I was like, I just had to get my
Just need
nappy
to go.
there.
When you got to go, you got to
my
go.
nappy, my 1-year-old's nappy, and just pee. And I know it's weird, but honestly, that is a top tip.
Yeah, but Rachel, people don't understand after you've had a baby, you can't hold a wee.
I couldn't hold it. So yeah, if ever you're type of people that need a wee and have accidents, carry a nappy. You will thank me.
Yeah. So if you guys need a nature poo, are we doing it in a bag or are we just doing it? Where are we going? And I'm not meaning like nature, like you're walking down the high street and you're just going to poop in a bin in the high street.
The one time I did it was behind, like, it was literally just on some leaves and covered it up. Because I was like, because animals will do that, and therefore that should be fine.
You're an animal.
And so would anyone else that has still got their butts.
Exactly.
If they need to poo and they're 5 hours off a mountain, they've got to go.
That's true. I don't know why it feels a bit more. I don't know, because like mine is really liquidy, and
So if you do it into a bag, you're carrying the bag for the rest of the hike.
I know.
But you could get away with that and style it out if you've got dogs, because no one's going to question it.
To poo outside.
I don't know.
I don't know. We'll soon find out. Please let us know in the comments. And therefore, I haven't done it if it's illegal.
I wonder.
Yeah, people need to come back to us and let us know on that one.
I don't know. Like, because if you were just peeing on the side of the street, I'm
That
pretty
is
sure.
illegal.
Yeah, you can't pee and poo like in your high street. But
I mean, you shouldn't. Like,
I mean, there's people that probably do.
There's a top tip from this podcast. Don't do that in the high street.
I'm sure in Cardiff on a night out, there's plenty of people doing that.
sure
If you
there
know
is.
Cardiff,
I'm sure there is. But yeah.
yes. Anyway,
Back to travelling and hiking and all other bits and pieces.
but yeah, I mean, you've flown a few times,
Yeah.
and that's another experience that people get very nervous about.
Yeah.
So how did you go about that and doing that with confidence?
That's actually something so many people message me about this. So many people message about. And I'm not like a frequent flyer, you know. I think it's just
As long as
something
you
maybe
express
someone's.
yourself.
Maybe I'd like to be.
Oh well,
But
let
we'll
the
see.
brands come forward.
Yeah, come on.
When was the last time you went away?
That was
Oh, that wasn't long ago.
just not long ago. Yeah, actually,
Okay.
but I can't actually remember when. September.
Nice.
September. I went to Cos with my daughter,
Lovely.
which was lovely. But no, so I do put everything in place as a precaution.
Yeah.
So I do get I print off my prescription so that
Yeah,
I've got
okay.
proof of the prescription, stick it in my bag. Some people say you need like a doctor's note. I'm not paying my doctor to write a note for me.
True.
So I have actually, on my first ever holiday where I was really anxious about all this, I took my discharge letter from hospital.
Okay,
It literally said what it was that I've got. Like,
Okay.
I don't know what, no one in the airport is going to understand that,
No,
are
they
they? They're
won't
going to
know.
read it like, what is this
No,
jargon?
Yeah,
But
that's
yeah,
true.
so I did take the prescription because a lot of people say that because if you're travelling with meds, then
Yes,
it's,
yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah.
I'm
ideal.
pretty sure a stoma nurse would recommend that
I think
as
they
well.
do, yeah.
they
so,
do.
and it's no harm to stick that in your bag, is it? It's a little bit of paper.
No.
So I do those things. And then I have got one of the lanyards.
Okay. Do you feel like they work or not? Because I get lots
Yeah.
of. Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. I obviously use the sunflower lanyard
Hmm.
and I don't feel it's something I should admit, but I do feel slightly embarrassed by wearing it, which I absolutely shouldn't. But I think that's just an insecurity of mine of I don't like drawing attention to myself. I don't like people looking at me. So I
Yeah.
think it's one of those, is everyone looking at her and thinking, what's wrong with her sort of thing?
Yeah.
But they're absolutely not. And I was so wrong because I've used it on each time in the airport and I have had such a positive experience.
That's really good.
So I've gone through special assistance instead of going through normal, what's that first bit called? When
Normal
you're
security.
weaving for security, yeah.
Yeah.
Special assistance at Gatwick is shared with the family bit.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
sometimes that could be packed and actually get through quicker the other
Yeah,
side,
yeah.
but it hasn't been. So gone through, been amazing. And then obviously you go through the first set of bleepers.
Yeah.
With or without a stoma, I have always activated those things. Whether I look like some little like hoodlum walking through, I don't know.
You don't look like it. You don't look like a hoodlum.
But I activate the
Unless
things
what are you
every
wearing
time.
to the airport that makes you look like a hoodlum?
Well, it is. Well, like comfies. You're travelling
Yeah,
comfies,
exactly,
don't
yeah.
you? So yeah, I activated that. So then I had to go in. I don't know if you're like where you guys travel from. They got the big stand-up ones now. Where you stand
stand
arms and
like
legs
that,
apart.
haven't you?
Yeah.
Gone through that. Yeah,
3D
that's
ones,
activated.
yeah.
So then they have to do the full pat down. And I remember the first time going away, I could see on the screen what kept coming up.
Yeah, you get that little
And I
X
was,
across it.
yeah,
don't you?
and you can see like your body on
Yeah.
the screen. And I said to them, "Oh, I've got a stoma," and they're like, "Pardon?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, I've got stoma," and they were like, "Oh, okay. Do you mind if we go to a side room
Yeah.
and you show us?" I was like, "I'm happy to show you here.
Yeah, yeah.
I've got no
yeah.
shame in showing my stoma." And to be honest, who do you look at going through security? Are you looking at anyone that's going through? You're paying no
You're more
attention to
petrified that
anyone.
something bad's. You're like, don't arrest me, don't arrest me.
In the alarms off. Oh my God, did I take my iPad out of my bag?
Yeah.
You know, so no, it's been really, really positive, and I've had no issues as well with anyone understanding.
Yeah.
It's been that initial, oh sorry, and then I'm like a Stoma, and they're like, oh okay,
Yeah.
and then they've offered to sort of take me. The best airport by far was Budapest.
Oh, wow,
They
really?
were incredible. Like, they saw me
big
in a
up
queue.
Budapest.
Well, it's like, come. And I was like,
yeah.
oh, no.
Special treatment.
I don't want
Excuse me, everyone.
I don't want anyone-
Excuse me.
Maybe they knew who you were and were fans.
Yeah.
Didn't go through any of
Oh, that's Mona. Step, come as well.
Mona, come on.
But no, so I've had really positive experiences in the
that.
airport. No issues whatsoever that I can think of.
Because that's a real anxiety for so
Yeah.
many people
It
after
is,
surgery.
yeah.
Like,
I think
they
a lot
go,
of people try and put stuff in hand luggage and their main luggage
yeah.
so that if for some reason
Yeah.
something goes missing, they haven't got no supplies.
Yeah.
So my supplies are packed across everything.
Yeah.
So if I go away with the family,
Yeah.
my supplies are in their bags, my bags,
Yeah.
hand luggage. And I always take 2 to 3 times what I would need in an
Yeah.
average week,
Yeah.
which is way too much.
Well, if for some reason, God forbid, you had a stomach bug or something,
Exactly
and
this.
you
Don't agree with
you
food on
don't know,
holiday.
you're
Yeah.
better off doing that than not, aren't you?
Yeah, and I think it's things like heat. You know, when we've been out to like Greece, how hot it is. You know, your stomach can play havoc. And
Well, I was going to ask about this because my experience with like going away, I sweat. Like, come on, I'll go and like
Yeah.
lay by a sunbed, suntan, like lotion, etc. And then like, I worry that my bag's going to peel off.
Yes.
So if you're sunbathing and like
Yeah.
by a pool or jumping in the pool a lot, have you got any tips that you would like accommodate?
So this September was the first time ever since having a stoma that I went in a pool or the sea.
Oh wow!
I had a mental block and I could not do it. I don't know why, but I just couldn't.
What, prior to this holiday, or
Prior to this holiday in September that I've just had, since I had my stoma, I have not been in a swimming pool, the sea, nothing, because I was just, I can't even explain to people why. It was just a mental thing. So this year I was like, right, I'm doing it. I'm doing it. And I had Madison to cheer me on, bless her. She was like, you can do this, Mum. I've got it on a video, like, yeah, get it.
Oh.
As I'm walking in the seat. But I used, what is the proper term? The bananas.
Flange extenders.
Flange extenders, yeah.
Yes.
I quite like bananas, actually. That's better.
Bananas.
Flange extenders.
So I used them. And again, it was for the sweating as well,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
the first day we were there, my bag did start to lift slightly and then the anxiety comes in, like,
Yeah,
God, what if, you know?
Yeah.
Because last thing you want when all you've got on is a bikini and then if you have a
Yeah.
leak, it's not quite so hidden, is
No.
it? So yeah, I use them just as that little bit of protection.
Yeah.
But nothing else. I wasn't ashamed. I didn't hide it in a swimming costume or...
Good for you. That's
I
so
remember
good.
you posted a reel in your bikini.
Yeah.
And that was a big moment for you,
It was
wasn't
so
it?
big,
For
yeah.
Like, how has your confidence changed from
Yeah.
when you had your surgery or you've been through since to where you are now?
Massively.
Yeah.
I'm still not confident in myself. We all know I've got all these body issues, but the confidence, I actually feel having a stoma has given me more confidence than what I've ever had in my life, because I've just gotten to that point where I'm like, this little thing like literally saved my life.
Yeah.
You need to be grateful for that. Like, and it just, that and my job, two things combined have just made me see life, you know, and other little things along the line. It's just, you've got to live life to the fullest. And that's
100%.
why I was like, I'm going in the sea.
Yeah.
I'm doing it.
Yeah.
And I was literally terrified, but I was
You
like,
had
no.
so much love, didn't you?
Oh, it was so lovely. I think because everyone knew, like everyone's known.
yeah.
You know, I voiced it a lot online,
Yeah.
how I felt about swimming with a stoma and that. And
Again, I think this is like a big key thing when people go on holiday, like especially like women, like wearing a bikini, having your stoma bag out, they get so worried about it, getting into the sea, swimming pools, whatever. Like most of it is in your head. It's you,
psychological,
it's no one
yeah.
else.
It is.
And then you do it and you're like, why was I so worried? Like this is great. And then
But that's what's so brilliant about you and your account is that you share when you're vulnerable, when you feel you can't, but then how you've got to where you are now.
Yeah.
It's not just I'm in my bikini,
no.
you can do this, anyone can do this. There's
no.
context behind it and there's growth, and that's why, you know, it's
I love that. Thanks, Rach.
but it's your journey, isn't it?
Oh,
And that's the
it
point.
is.
That'll be so relatable to
And
so many people.
I always promised myself, when I first started on my socials, I did it as a diary for myself. It was
Yeah.
literally to document what I was going through, the medication I was on, all that sort of stuff. But I was like, I'm not going to hide any side of this because I don't want to be one of these accounts you come across that everything is positive.
Yeah.
Because at the time of getting my stoma, there were some really, really awful stories in the press about, a couple of people with stomas that were not coping with life.
Yeah.
That, it wasn't.
Yeah.
So I was like, no, I'm not going to be a person to fluff this all up because it's just not, it's not reality, is it? You can't.
It's not. No.
And it's be like that. Which I love about you guys as well, because you're the same. And
well, you got to be real with it.
Be real.
Like, because again, to your point, if you're not that you're too positive, I'm a very positive person just by like default. I'm always super happy. Yeah. But you have to show the rough and the smooth. You've got to show the other side of the coin, because otherwise,
you have with like obviously your like when you've had your prolapse. And...
Oh God, I forgot about all those prolapses. Touch wood. I can't touch wood because I'm going to mess the recording. Touch these things gently.
We just know if you start laying on the floor, we know what's going on.
Yeah. Well, like,
you always end up on the floor.
What's the best way, isn't it? Gravity.
Just put it back in.
Is that why? I just thought you like to lay down.
I'm just that laid back, mate. Just on the floor.
Lying down, literally.
Just on the floor. But yeah, I wanted to go into obviously you go on holiday, eating new foods, stuff that you won't necessarily get like day to day in the UK. If you're having like interesting cuisine, how have you like navigated doing those sorts of things when you're away?
Carefully.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what do you look for? Are you looking like I'm definitely just going to have like something very simple that I would have at home. Do you be experimental?
I definitely experiment.
Oh.
Yeah, I do. Because that's the best thing about holiday.
Oh, yeah.
Trying all the different
100%.
foods. But just carefully. So you just test the waters, don't you? You start it and think, is that going to break down? Yeah, let's go for it.
Yeah. and chew.
Oh.
Something
Chew. We all know the three chews.
It's just, you forget.
Yeah, so
how
I still
chewing makes a
keep
difference.
the same... On holiday for a lot of people, don't you find they eat really late?
Yeah.
People tend to dine like 9 o'clock.
9 o'clock. Like, why are you not in bed? Come on,
no. That's not happening for me. So, I still keep a bit of a routine on holiday in the sense of like I still want to eat fairly early because I'm the one then that's up all night dealing with my stoma while everyone's snoring their heads off, all refreshed the next day, and actually I feel pants the next day. So we still dinner will be more like sort of 7 on holiday. I won't push it as late as but no, I love to experiment with everything. I'm careful, but I'm really fortunate that I can eat a lot.
You are.
That a lot of Ostomates can't eat.
Mushrooms.
Not going to lie, I get blockages. I do get blockages and they're not nice, but I just try to be careful with the chewing.
Well, I was going to say about routine stuff, blockages. How have you managed them? Because I've experienced them from eating some bits and pieces, but what's your...
So my blockages before my hernia repair last year were horrific. And it was actually so I initially thought my hernia, I thought was just blockages because I had them every day. And it was every single day I had blockages and there was nothing that was doing it. And it actually turned out it was all because I've got a kinky bowel.
Oh.
So I've got a bowel with a lot of kinks and it just has to work hard to pass everything through. But the tips I give everyone for blockages is just drink. Yeah. Plenty of fluids. Try and not really eat throughout that time because whatever you're putting in, it's then just going to add to it, isn't it? But then I don't always say don't eat because, sometimes still need to. But eat peppermint tea. Don't know why, but it is a saving grace for mine. Movement. Yeah. So if I had a blockage a few weeks back where I couldn't even get to the top of my road, I was like, no, this is when you get clammy, you're sweating, you're like, this is awful. So no, back home with that one. But normally I will try and do a few laps around the block just to get that movement, lay on the floor, cycle the legs. I've got a brilliant electric heat pad. But I've been really lucky, unlike you, Ant, to manage mine at home.
I've managed most of mine at home other than 2.
That one in hospital was peppers, wasn't it?
2. No, it was mushrooms.
Oh, why did I think it was peppers?
One of the first ones was tender stem broccoli, and I just didn't chew that.
Oh. Yeah. So that's another thing. I do cook veg almost within an inch of its life. Not so it's mush because I love veg. So I won't ruin it, but I will cook it to a level where it's not coarse. So like broccoli, I just won't eat it if it's that little bit coarser. But I love mushrooms.
Oh, well, hey.
I ended up in hospital after a Wagamama's once.
Gosh.
I had a bowl of, I don't even know what it was, but it was just all veg, and it was, that was
I think that's another thing, is not to overload. Not to have an entire plate of...
Yeah. It's hard though, isn't it? Because when I don't know, if you want to eat healthier foods, if you want to, I think if you were, I don't know, I get in the mindset of, if every time I'm going to be having a blockage or feeling uncomfortable with foods like that, I think, well, I can't eat them then.
No.
But then you feel like rubbish, because that's the type of foods that give you nourishment and make you feel good.
Exactly that.
So then it's finding that balance, isn't it?
I remember coming out of hospital and I was literally given a sheet, and it was just like, here you go, here's a 5-year-old beige diet.
Yes, gosh.
I was living on
12 weeks off
smiley
that.
faces.
Yeah.
Living
the dream, smiley
Yeah,
faces.
smiley faces, mashed potato, chicken and fish. And I was just like, I felt like rubbish because I wasn't having all that other stuff. But I do really, really feel for people, because another thing for me was weight gain after stoma surgery, which, I wasn't small before my surgery, but the weight gain after, because I couldn't eat well. Yeah. And the amount of people that reach out to me about that, I just find it's so hard, because it's like, I can eat these things. Yeah, you may not. But if you can't, I can't give you the same guidance that I'm going by.
It's very different, isn't it, for
everyone? But I just say to everyone, just try things, really chew them.
Yeah.
Some people have...
Keep a food diary as well. Food diaries are underrated.
Yeah.
Like, if, the worst thing you can do is go to, say, Stoma nurse and say, oh, I'm getting blockages. She goes, well, what have you eaten? And you go, oh, I don't know. I think it happened last week one day. Like, if you're...
it's really good to do that, especially in the early days.
Yeah,
you can sort of...
Definitely.
But it's that... I remember coming out of hospital and obviously being given this sheet and not knowing what I could and couldn't eat. But then that was the thing, because I didn't know. It was like, well, I'll start experimenting.
Yeah.
But then you forget, internally, you're still healing. So externally, you're like, okay, my wounds have healed. No, internally takes so much longer. You've got so much inflammation still in there. So it's just, making people aware, go slow. Yeah.
And you went through a period of doing cooking videos.
I will go back to them.
I love them.
This is what I mean, Rachel. I've lost my mojo on socials. I've lost my mojo in the kitchen. It will all come back.
Yeah.
We're heading to spring. So let's get a spring in my step.
But you gained a lot of followers.
There was one reel that just blew up. I was like, why?
What was it? The dish? What was it?
Yeah, what did you cook? Come on.
It was something so rubbish. It was just like a glass dish with dry rice. So the abuse I got for dry rice on that. But I had to turn comments off, because honestly, the comments. It was just like a rice, chicken, some veg, some pesto. Whack it in the oven. Oh, so obviously some stock in it to cook it all. Yeah. I don't know if it was the song or what it was, but overnight it was like it had like 3.5 million views or something. And the followers would just go boom, boom, boom every day. I was like, oh my God. I'm sitting there like terrified, like another 100, another 100. I was like, stop. Because then I did get into like a panic. I was like, oh no, I can't have this many people watching me. Like,
they'll watch you for all of your amazing stuff you're doing with your actual social media, not necessarily the cooking side of it.
Those videos I would title, yes, you can eat this with a stoma. Which again, there's always, I put a disclaimer on them. Yeah. This is my experience, because a lot of people do like to say, oh, well, I can't eat that. Yeah. And I'm like, I'm really sorry you can't.
I know. But you can't, you can't cater for everyone. No. Like, all our experiences are very different, and you can't please everyone. So,
but I love food, so.
Oh, yeah. Well, if we link that back to like going on holidays and things, are there places where you want to travel to, and like, I don't know if you've travelled all around the world, but if you like go to like the Far East and you go, oh, I'd like to try that cuisine in this exotic location. Like, have you got any places you want to travel to?
So I'm obsessed with Greece. I've been to Greece all my life. When I say Greece, all the Greek islands. I've been going there all my life, so I love it. I love Greek food. The only thing is I come home and get cramp really bad in my legs because the amount of salt in their food.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's the salt, because then you come home and you deplete yourself from that salt because you're not adding that volume into your meals.
Your body can't take the extremes.
Yeah, I will have severe...
I just thought it was the alcohol I was drinking.
No, I will have severe leg cramps for a good 2-3 weeks after whenever we go abroad. And but Greek food, I just love.
What's your favourite Greek food that you've had abroad?
Moussaka.
Nice. So you haven't had to worry about stoma stuff with that necessarily?
No, again, I've been
just simple.
Really lucky.
See, again, that would scare me eating that because of how I react to foods. But then for you, it's happy days. Yes. So it just shows, doesn't it? It's just... Yeah. So we've had a weekend away.
Yeah.
We've been away, but we didn't even have proper food then, did we? We just
binged on sweets the
and
whole
chips
weekend.
and dip. That was terrible.
Yeah, it was. We were just very unorganised, weren't we? And we didn't
Yeah.
bother sorting anything out. And I think we were
Yeah.
more interested in having a drink and eating sweets.
Yeah, no, it was all good. It
All
was
about
good.
balance. It's all about balance.
It
You
is
definitely
about-
need to
yeah.
have those days, right?
Definitely.
And reconnect, have a laugh, eat
Oh
sweets.
God, yeah.
Definitely. That's another thing, though, on that note. Chocolate causes my stoma.
Really?
Does it?
Yes.
That really surprises
Yeah.
me.
Yeah, it gives me high output.
Really?
Yeah.
Is it particular types of chocolate,
No.
like dark or?
No.
Ooh.
Any chocolate.
Oh,
Yeah.
how do you deal with Easter?
I just eat
Just
it and deal
avoid
with
it.
the output.
Yeah, I'm going to be lying down for a little while,
I'm
guys.
making
See
sure
you
I
later.
do not eat chocolate just at Easter.
So when you're like out and about, you're away from home or far away from home,
Yeah.
how do you navigate facilities that maybe aren't to standard or they're completely lacking or how, I don't know, that makes me quite nervous, the thought of maybe going abroad and then not having the good enough facilities or things nearby. How do you
Yeah.
deal with that?
You've got a story there, haven't you?
Yeah, it just popped into my head.
Oh, go
Some
on, then.
countries don't have toilets, it's just a hole in the
A
floor.
hole in the ground, Thailand.
So what's...
No, no, I will find somewhere else. No,
So
no,
I went
wanna do
to...
no, no.
When I was in Thailand,
okay.
I went to a Thai boxing match.
Yeah.
And
Oh, wow.
I remember saying to someone, where's the toilets? And they're like, what? And I was
Yeah.
like, where's the toilets?
What?
This is pre-Stoma days.
Right.
And they were like, behind that curtain. So I was like,
What?
it was a shower curtain
Oh, gross.
on a post that was just hanging. So the shower curtain was like this. It was a hole in the ground. I would be quite cool with that with my
Would
Stoma.
you-
I'd just
is it-
squat and just empty it.
Is it like a compost thing where you chuck stuff on top and...
So like camping, like,
Yeah,
when
is
we
that-
do wild camping, it's,
Yeah.
it is just like these
Yeah, okay.
compostable
Yeah.
toilets.
Yeah, yeah.
I am still quite funny about like if I share houses with friends. So like when we went away,
Yeah.
we were quite good at making sure we had a few bathrooms, didn't we? In that house?
A couple of us. I think I was jammy and I had an
You had
ensuite.
your ensuite, yeah.
Oh, that was
But I
amazing.
do still get a little bit anxious with friends.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, but all friends are like, they'll love you. They know what's
Yeah,
happening. Do you know what I mean?
yeah.
Like, I'm very much the same. Like, even
Yeah.
like if people come round, I'm like, I'm going downstairs. You can use the toilets
Yeah,
upstairs. I'm
yeah,
going
yeah.
downstairs. And even I'll get like droplets.
That's good to
Stuff
know
like
though
that.
that others are feeling like that. Because
Oh,
yeah,
honestly,
yeah.
honestly.
You get
When
freaked
it's
out
like,
on my friends.
Don't.
Toilet anxiety. It's a thing. Like, and also I need to know what the flush is like.
You were saying this earlier.
Yeah, but
about, like,
then,
when you
yeah,
were-
yeah.
if you flush first to see what it's like, then what if it's a cistern that takes 15 minutes to fill up and you're
Well,
in
you're
there
buggered,
waiting?
and you know you can't leave your bag fill up really a lot because then it ain't going to flush.
Yeah.
That's the thing that, like I was saying about when I was saying to you earlier one night about looking at a
Yeah,
house.
houses, yeah,
One
yeah.
of the first things when I was viewing houses, I'd sneakily want to flush the toilet because if that thing wasn't hustling, I didn't
Tried
want to
being
know.
us the other week. We had 7 days and no water.
Yes.
Oh gosh, yes, you
I
are.
had
Oh
a
my
mental
gosh.
breakdown online and everything. Yeah, that was something else. In the end, I was putting my black bags into a jug and then I was emptying into that, tying up the bags, getting rid of the bags because I was
Yeah.
like, I can't do this. With an ileostomy, you're emptying so much more often.
Yeah, yeah.
And I had flu as well, so I had high
Yeah.
output. I was really
gosh,
not
bless
very
you.
well. And a non-flushing toilet in a house of
Yeah.
a family, you're just like, I can't cope with this. So I was like, right, the poo bathroom's downstairs.
Yeah, yeah.
This is
Yeah.
strictly
Yeah.
for wheeze and shower. Well, not showers. We couldn't shower. But it was awful.
I can't.
Everything's all sorted now. Like, water's
Yes,
back on.
thank
Good,
God, yeah.
How many homes did it affect? It was
Loads.
thousands.
Yeah, it was on the news,
17,000.
yeah.
Over
Yeah.
17,000, yeah. And that was just our town. You know,
Yeah.
there was Tunbridge Wells, there was all the other
Yeah.
towns. But no, so going back to holiday, I do still get the anxiety of like, when you're going out for a day and you're just not familiar, you've got no idea.
Yeah.
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 So I do still get the anxiety, but not like I did pre-Stoma, because pre-Stoma, I was having to poo blood up to 50 times a day. On a good day, it was 20 times-ish. On a bad day, it was 50. So, I was working front line during that. I remember getting to patients' houses and I'd have to bypass the patient for the toilet quick. And so
Gosh.
I still have anxiety around that, when I'm going somewhere that I'm completely unfamiliar with. I'm like, I just want to know, it's not as stressful now because I've got that little bit more control.
Yeah.
But when we was in Greece in September, I remember we were on the beach and I got into a little bit of a panic because I was like, God, can you just go into like restaurants? Can you just nip in anywhere? Because they weren't like public toilets on the street or anything.
Oh, okay.
So it was like, but thankfully they're so accommodating. Like they're so lovely.
Could you go in?
Could literally just go in. They didn't expect you to buy food or drink.
Oh, that's good.
But then I didn't think about this with Budapest being a city. Every toilet you had to pay for. Exactly like London. I was like, I didn't even think about this. So so I then had to get a little doggy bag of cash for every toilet.
Okay.
Because they didn't know, no restaurants, even McDonald's didn't let you in to use the toilet. They had barriers, everything. So so I do get anxious around things like that, but not actually having to deal with my stoma. I'm very much like, just suck it up. I completely understand people that are offended and upset by the state of disabled toilets. Thankfully,
it's chaos at times, isn't it?
I think as women, we're a little bit more lucky that we don't really need to worry about every time using a disabled toilet. You know, with you guys, you've got those manky urinals and
it stinks.
And it's like
there's
it's just known if you're going into a cubicle, you're going for a poo.
It's just not nice.
But I'll deal with it in public toilets and everything as I need to. But I don't think I've had any massive issues other than I went somewhere which I won't say because it won't be good to say. But the disabled toilet was just full of stock.
Yeah, I've got that a lot. I've been to I've gone into disabled toilets and it's just full of their stock.
Yeah,
and
that's
it's
not
like
okay.
I mean, it doesn't really compute in my head because it's not a cupboard.
No,
and why are you putting your stuff in there?
No.
Like, you have a toilet that people will use.
It's literally a dumping ground. They are using it.
Yeah, when I used to do supply teaching, the schools, they all use the disabled toilets as a stockroom.
Yeah, no,
and you can barely get to the toilet.
No.
It's very common in schools. It's shocking. I don't know how they do it.
No, they should be completely available because, when you're changing your bag, you do want that extra bit of space, don't you?
Yeah,
to put all
absolutely.
your supplies down.
I mean, the one massive advantage I think from having a stoma is I don't know how you were pre-stoma, but I know before I had accidents all the time out and about. I remember as a kid, I'd have accidents on the school bus because I could not hold it in.
Yeah.
There was nothing I could do. But with a bag, you've got that time, haven't you? It does take away a lot of that anxiety.
Yeah, definitely.
And if people are really worried about having to find somewhere to empty and having to do this, it does give you more time.
Yeah.
It's not as bad as having accidents constantly and trying desperately to find toilets.
Pooed myself on the school playground, out shopping, everything. It was all the time. It was just awful.
I think as well when you've got a stoma and your bag and all these things now, even travelling, going hiking, doing whatever, you do have that time. And also you can just use toilets. There isn't any issues around it, especially on planes.
Yeah, and you can, if you've got your waste bags with you, which you should, if you're really desperate, you just find somewhere discreet and you empty it and you find somewhere to dispose of it. It's a lot. It's quite freeing.
Yeah. I think it's quite common routine for me as well. Everything I do, I always make sure my bag's empty.
Yeah.
So just before getting on a flight, my bag's empty.
Yeah.
Just before going out, my bag's empty. I'll always, so I'll probably spend.
When you go on a flight, because I want to ask you this, do you find that your output gets higher or anything like that?
No.
Does it balloon?
Absolutely nothing changes with mine whatsoever. No, I have not had my bag turn into a crisp packet. I can get why people worry about that because genuinely, when you take a bag of crisps on a flight, it does blow up, doesn't it? Your stoma bag does not do that. If it has for anyone else, then I'm very sorry it's happened to you. But no, I've had absolutely no change with my stoma on a flight.
When you're picking seats or choosing seats of flight, do you sit in near the aisle to get
really
near
good.
enough out of the toilet? Because I've started to do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
but on
so
longer haul, because I don't want to jump over someone.
When me and Madison went away, I booked, because she likes a window seat, I booked the window and the middle seat because it was just the two of us. And we got in the seats and then an old boy was sat next to me, which is fine. But then I started getting a little bit anxious thinking, he was quite frail and everything, bless him. And I was just like, this is going to be hassle for both of us.
Yeah.
If anything does start, if I do have a leak or if I do urgently need to get out for any reason, it could be that I've got to wake him up or if, he's unsteady on his feet, whatever. So actually on that flight, it was quite a quiet flight and I actually just nipped off, said to one of the, they're not air hostesses, are they? Air
Stewardesses.
Whatever they're called now.
Yeah.
I actually went,
attendants.
There we are.
There we go, flight attendants.
Is it?
I went along to one of them and I just said, I've got a stoma and I just feel a little bit anxious climbing over this guy. Do you mind if we sit in the row literally behind? Because it was free.
Yeah.
She was absolutely fine with it.
Oh, I love
And
that.
I was just like, so that really relieved my anxiety, because I think I would have probably been a bit anxious.
Well, there's a tip for people if they're in the same situation.
Book an aisle seat.
I've
Is
started.
my advice. So I
doing
book aisle
that,
seats. Yeah, that's going forward now. It will always be an aisle seat.
Although when we went on our honeymoon, we did a 13-hour flight. And my wife was like, "Why have you picked that?" So he's like, "I know I'm going to keep getting up.
Yeah,
That's a
I'm
long
flying
flight.
exactly. I'm going to be up at least 4 or
Yeah.
5 times, and I don't want to have to annoy whoever this is or you by getting up. Because if you're asleep, I'm not climbing over.
No,
Yeah.
this is it.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's fine if it's like your own family. You know, when you're going away with the kids, it's the three of you in a row and you're stumbling over each other and whatever. But when you've got that extra person that you're not travelling with, and I remember flying back from New York pre-Stoma, and I was next to not an old guy. No, he wasn't. That's a lie, Sophie. He was just a gentleman. And he fell asleep for the whole flight. I held a wee for the whole flight.
No.
I needed to
Your
go.
pelvic floor must be
Jesus.
insane.
Well, maybe back then. That was pre-kids. But I just didn't want to wake this guy up. Whereas, the anxiety is a bit more, isn't it, with a Stoma? Because you're like, well, no, I want to be able to get in and out and deal with it. So, definitely top tip is aisle seats, just so that you can get in and
freedom of
out.
movement, isn't it?
Yeah.
Nice
But I've had no issues. Like even going to the toilet with my Stoma, emptying my bag on a flight.
Yeah.
Have you had a bag change on a flight yet?
No, no,
Ah.
but
Yeah, once.
I emptied in mega turbulence. I literally just got into the toilet and the seatbelt things went off, and I was like,
Madam,
"Ooh."
returned your seat. I can't. I'm
I
emptying my
just sat
bag.
on the loo, started to empty it, and it was like, dum, dum. I was like,
God.
oh my God.
How do you empty then? How do you just said you sat on the loo. What
I
did you
emptied
do?
between my legs.
Oh.
Yes.
And
I
you're
used-
a kneeler.
Kneeler.
I
yeah,
used
kneel
to
down.
kneel. Yeah.
Oh. So why did you change from a kneeler to a...
Because I felt that part of my legs too short that I couldn't quite reach the toilet.
That's fair, yeah.
Yeah, I don't
have-
feel I had the height to actually, I wasn't quite getting in there.
I have experienced it once where I've kneeled down and gone, this is a very high bowl.
Yeah,
I'm like,
and there are some. Yeah, but no, I'm a sit down and between my legs.
yeah.
Oh,
You're just a
okay.
splash and dash, aren't you?
Splash and
You're like,
dash.
"Ah, bosh, see you later.
Gosh, did you
Take
see
me
that? Yeah.
Yeah.
That terrified me.
Exactly. Terrifies me.
Exactly. Well, because I do it on the side of the bowl, and I put tissue down. So we had Amy on.
Yeah, but Rachel, every toilet's shaped different.
Yeah.
And some don't have the same shape.
Yeah.
I just make it. I don't know. I just.
You've
do
clearly
it.
perfected the technique. Maybe
You
you should do a
have,
reel
yeah.
about how to do,
Nah, it's
to do
all right.
it.
Like everyone's got a line.
I'm going to inspect your white jeans next time you're wearing them.
You
like-
won't see me in white jeans. That's there you go. Yeah.
Yeah. You've brought a couple of photos on
I have,
that we wanted to talk to you about. You've got 2.
Yes.
Just talk us through like why those 2 photos are important for you, and like just describe them a little bit for us because of the people listening as well.
So this
she is.
one is me at the summit of the mountain.
What mountain is it?
That was the old Manor Coniston in Lake District.
Wow.
That was just such a huge achievement.
Yeah.
It was just something that I never ever thought would be possible. 13 years of like undiagnosed bowel disease, not knowing what was wrong with me, avoiding everything that involved, it was just such a huge goal to climb a mountain that I was just like, so that photo I just look at and I'm like, I'm just proud. I'm
That's
just
such a
proud.
good achievement,
And if anything, proud of Mona, because I'm like, you
Yeah.
have given me that. Like, so I know a lot of people don't like the whole my stoma's amazing, blah, 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 but bloody well is.
Oh
mine
my
is.
gosh, that's
So-
your
It should
prerogative,
celebrate
yeah.
it.
so yeah,
Come
that's
on.
just a picture of like being really proud that I actually managed. And also I was not fit or well in this
Yeah.
photo. I was really quite sick. This was quite soon after surgery and wasn't well, had a hernia as well. And it was just, everything about it was a struggle. But it was like, no,
Yeah.
But
I'm
you
going to do
accomplished
this.
it.
I'm going to do it.
Because
Yeah.
you said earlier you set yourself that goal, that
Yes.
target of climbing the mountain,
Yeah.
and that is the evidence of doing
Yeah.
it. Do you ever reflect back on that when like you have like hard days and you're like, oh, I did that. I did the hard things.
I do every now and then.
Mm.
Yeah, once in a while, you've got to bring yourself back to reality,
Yeah,
haven't you? And
100%.
things like that are what does it. Like, I have overcome this. I have
Yeah,
overcome that. So yeah, that was that one.
Amazing. Love that.
And then this is getting in the water. So that was that holiday last year of Madsen where I haven't swum with a Stoma, I haven't been in the water. Obviously showers and baths, guys.
Yeah.
Like I'm not...
Well, I was going to say, I didn't want to say it out loud. But
Yeah, but I was just like, if you see it close, I was beaming because I was just like, I didn't believe this was possible. And it was one of those things actually got in my head. I genuinely believed this is not going to be possible. I'm not going to be able to do this. So
it is such a weird but like uplifting experience the first time you like go swimming and like into the sea with a bag, because you're like, how's it going to move? Like, what's going to happen? You're like, nothing's happening. It's fine. Crack on.
Yeah. And that's it. So what I think when I look at this is actually I've got trust in myself and my bag, because it's like, I did it. Yeah. It was fine.
Yeah.
It is that getting over it, isn't it? It's doing those things, which so many people avoid so many things because they're like, oh, I'm too worried that X, Y, Z. And it's like, you will not know unless you try it.
I do think, though, people have got to come to it themselves, haven't they? They've got to be
100%.
mentally ready and open.
That's taken me 5 years.
Yeah. And you did that in your own time. And
yeah. And I still wouldn't have done it on that holiday if I didn't feel it was right. But I was like, no, this is, I'm ready to do it.
That's so empowering, though. It really is. Because there'll be lots of people that are listening to this and watching this that will go, I'm having those same anxieties and issues. Like, I can travel, I can do these things.
This is it. It's just making people realise the smallest things, they are achievable. You know, break them down. Don't overanalyze it. You can do anything. Just
one step at a time.
Yeah.
100%. Love that. Got a couple of questions from our audience that we'd like to ask.
Oh, God.
Do
you say who it is? So I can go back to them like, thanks.
This is coming from Rach. No, I'm joking. You've already answered one about bags inflating on flights. So put that to bed straight away. Now, you said about coming through security with like a lanyard and stuff. Like, I had heard that, I haven't done it, but if you haven't got a sunflower lanyard, what other tips would you give people getting through airport security that are a bit nervous?
I think just have the confidence to be able to say to someone, I'm feeling anxious in this moment. Like, you've got all the special assistant staff that work there, and that is their job. They're there to assist you when you're going through these things. You don't need a lanyard. You don't need a sign to say, I've got a stoma. You know, it's just having that confidence to be able to approach someone and just ask for help, which I think so many of us are good at not doing. You know, none of us want to ask for help, but it's like, actually, no, it's totally okay, and that's what they're there for. So, I think it's just doing that. And obviously at the airport, you can pick up those lanyards as well.
Yeah.
So if you haven't already got one, you can actually get them from like the special assistant stuff. I don't know if that's right for every airport.
That's still good. I mean, to be fair, like, I'm sure they've all been like trained in so many things. Surely.
I think it is something that I know. I've taken part in Stoma training for staff in Cardiff Airport.
You have, haven't you?
Yeah, and hopefully by now quite a few in the UK have had that from different companies. But I know Respond and other companies, they all have travel guides. Most of them do, where you can fill in all the information about your diagnosis, your supplies and all that. And that just, if anything, it kind of gives you another tool to be able to, if you're nervous about discussing it and saying it out loud, just going, look, I need to show you this. Can I have some assistance?
And you can also get the little booklets that say you've got a stoma in X amount of languages. So they're really good, you know, if you're worried that you're going somewhere and they're just not going to understand you.
And they're all free and available online. Like, you don't have to pay for them if you go to your stoma provider. Your stoma
Which I've taken all those things from me before as well.
Yeah.
You know, I put all these things in my bag, and it's just, if it comes up and you need it, it's there, isn't it?
Well, look, I'm glad you had so many positive experiences.
Yeah, I really have.
People really get anxious about it.
It's going to go and bite me on the bum soon, isn't it?
No one.
So, unfortunately, all good things have to come to an end.
No, I don't want it to. I've loved it.
But I mean, I think the last question that we end on is, I mean, you've covered so much and you've given so much advice, but what would you say to someone that's newly adjusting to stoma life?
Exactly what I've just said. Reach out for help and support. You've got so much through all the companies, their own guidance, their support. You've got everyone online. It's just reaching out and talking to people that have lived the experience. They've all been through it. We're the best people to talk to. We genuinely are, aren't we? Like, if there wasn't you for me to chat to, and you know, it's you can learn so much. And I think it is the best thing to definitely reach out for support. So definitely that. Ask for help.
Well, you've been incredible.
Yeah, so thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure.
For having me.